No lame joke to open up this video, because this really sucks. So this is kind of a weird time for gaming. There's a lot of great games coming out right now, and that's definitely for sure. But it seems like every company now wants to either be anti-consumer or they're either crapping all over the employees. I was originally wanted to talk about the price raise that Nintendo announced in Canada. But then with the stuff that just came out about Microsoft, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to just talk about all this and group this into one video. So first, let's talk about the price raise. Okay, so this is on Nintendo's Canadian website. Nintendo Switch pricing update. Pricing for the original Nintendo Switch family of systems and products in Canada will change based on market conditions. That's normally code name for raising prices. Although they don't actually say that they're raising prices. Normally when they say market conditions, they're raising the prices. But we'll talk about that later. These include Nintendo Switch OLED model, Nintendo Switch Lite, physical and digital Nintendo Switch games, and Nintendo Switch accessories. Other Nintendo products, including Amiibo and Nintendo Switch Online memberships, will also experience price changes. Please note the price change does not apply to Nintendo Switch 2 system, accessories, and software. Well, at least there's that. Pricing information specific to Canadian market will be shared at their website on August 1st. So, that doesn't actually say that there's going to be a price increase, but as I was saying, market conditions normally say, yeah, we're going to be raising the prices. Hopefully it's not too much, but I've never seen a generation where the current generation consoles rose in price. This is the first time I've ever seen it. It's actually unbelievable. An 8-year-old console is going to be raising in price. And Nintendo's not the only one. Microsoft did that with the Xbox in April. Sony also did that with the PlayStation 5 in Europe and UK. They also did that for the PlayStation Plus, and I believe they recently were talking about maybe they got to raise the price again in the US, which is absolutely ridiculous. They rose the price like 2 years ago, and I still don't see an upgrade in the games that they're offering. But anyway, that's a conversation for a different story. It's just I've never seen a time where the current generation is raising price. Normally around this time, especially when the next console comes out, they're lowering the price in their consoles. But this is some interesting times. As we'll see, let's go into the next topic, which is, this one hurts. Microsoft cancels its Perfect Dark and Everwild games. I never heard of Everwild, but that was made by Rare. Rare, they were a legendary company for the Super Nintendo and the N64. They made games like Donkey Kong Country, Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, Jet Force Gemini, Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing, some of my favorite games on the N64. And it's kind of interesting to see that they have not done they really have not done much on the Xbox ever since Microsoft acquired them. We thought that was a big acquisition, but nothing on the Xbox has come close to what they did on the Super Nintendo and the N64. And by the way, Perfect Dark was not made by them, this new Perfect Dark reboot. And I was thinking this game is looking really promising. I cannot wait for this game. So this really hurts that it was canceled. From a selfish standpoint, I really wanted to play this. So that's why I'm also disappointed. But it's because that they are laying off employees. 9,000 employees were laid off today, including the company that was making Perfect Dark. What was the company name? Oh, it's called The Initiative. The company that was making Perfect Dark was also closed down. And the thing is, this was going to be the first game. So they didn't even get a chance before they were shut down. I just think it's just kind of weird and kind of wild. Was it not like turning out what they expected it to be? And Everwild, I never heard of that game before today, but I was watching some screenshots. I was watching some gameplay, and it looked promising. The art style looked great. Maybe this could have been the game that brought Rare back, but not anymore since it got canceled. But then supposedly we have not seen it in years, so maybe it wasn't turning out that good. But let's read this right here. Phil Spencer, looks like Phil Spencer sent a note there. Following Phil Spencer's note, I want to share more about the changes to Studio's business unit. We made the decision to stop the development of Perfect Dark and Everwild, as well as wind down several unannounced projects across our portfolio. So there are other games that were canceled that haven't been announced. As a part of this, we're closing one of our studios, the initiative. Man, they didn't even get a chance. That's what's so frustrating about that. These decisions, along with other changes across our teams, reflect a broader effort to adjust priorities and focus resources to set up our teams for greater success within a changing industry landscape. We did not make these choices lightly, as each project and team represent years of effort, imagination, and commitment. Our overall portfolio strategy is unchanged. Build games that excite our players, continue to grow our biggest franchises, and create new stories, worlds, and characters. We have more than 40 projects in active development and continued momentum on titles shipping this fall, and a strong slate headed into 2026. For those directly affected, we are working closely with HR and studio leadership to provide support, including severance, career transition assistance, and where possible, opportunities to explore roles on other teams. To everyone across our studios, thank you. Your creativity and resilience continue to define who we are. I believe in the strength of our teams and the direction we're taking on the path ahead. That sounds like, typical corporate stuff. But they still laid off 9,000 employees, and they shut down a studio who maybe they wouldn't have been good, but maybe they would have been good. I just thought that the gameplay that they were showing looked really, really promising. But also, PlayStation earlier this year, they also hit their studios with some layoffs, including their studio called Visual Arts. I'm not exactly sure what games they created. Let's see. The team provides internal art and technical support. Also, they seem like they work with a vast amount of the first-party companies to create their internal arts and technical supports. That's exactly what it says. But man, it doesn't say exactly how much layoffs PlayStation did, but they did do it. I know last year they laid off 900 employees. I know that doesn't sound that much compared to the 9,000, but still layoffs. And it still sucks and it still hurts. It still is not good for the industry either. So this has been kind of an interesting time in the gaming industry. On one hand, I think the first 6 months of this year have been the best in gaming history. There are so many great games to play this year already. There may be already 5 Game of the Year candidates for the Game of the Year awards in the first 6 months. And someone's going to get snubbed. Multiple games are going to get snubbed by the end of the year. And then on the other hand, there is a lot of things that we don't like. Price raises. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft all rose their price this year in some countries. Not all countries, but some countries. Microsoft and Sony both have laid off a lot of employees this year, despite the gaming industry being at the top of its game financially. I mean, there's probably a lot of ins and outs that I don't understand. I've never been a game developer. I don't really know the ins and outs of business too much in terms of these big corporate companies. But yeah, I just want to share this. I want to give my opinion and quick thoughts on this. You may be more knowledgeable about this situation than I am. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you for watching this video. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to watch videos more just like this one. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. I'll talk to you next time. Okay, bye everybody.